Welcome to this information video about vocal health and how to look after your voice. Unlike other musicians who can buy another instrument if theirs ever gets broken, we only have one set of vocal cords in our life. We hear about scary stories with singers being on tour, losing their voice, and in particular, I'm sure you've heard about nodules. This short video will tell you how to take care of your voice, how your voice works, and how to recognise if you're at risk of vocal nodules, and what your options are if you have them. So, how is your voice produced? Your voice is made by the vibration of your vocal cords, the two white ligaments you can see on the picture here. Located in the larynx, the vocal cords, sometimes also called vocal folds, are like two elastic bands that are stretchy and adjust their length as you change pitch. Imagine on a guitar, the top strings are thin, the lower string is thick. Just like I said before, you have one voice, and the magic thing is that you can stretch your vocal cords gently throughout the whole of your range. So, when you phonate by singing or speaking, your vocal cords open and close. Take a look at the picture here. When at rest, the vocal folds open to allow breath to pass in and out. To produce voice, the brain precisely coordinates a series of muscular events. First, the folds, your vocal folds, seal together in a firm but relaxed way. Once the vocal folds are closed, air from the lungs passes through them, causing vibration. They open and close, and then they make a sound. The sound from this vibration then travels through the throat, nose, and mouth. These are called the resonating cavities. So I suppose you could say the size and shape of these cavities, along with the size and shape of the vocal folds as well, help to determine the sound and the quality of your voice. Variety of sound within an individual voice is the result of lengthening or shortening, tensing or relaxing the vocal folds, using the laryngeal cartilage, both thyroid and cricoid, in different ways to produce different voice qualities, and also placing the sound in different areas to adjust resonance. Don't worry if some of the words I've used seem very confusing and very specific. As we go through the series of lessons, you'll get clearer on what these different parts of your voice can do. For now, bear with it and accept that moving the cartilages, or soft, flexible bone-like tissues to which your vocal folds are attached, that makes these adjustments in your voice possible. For example, when you have short, relaxed vocal folds that are thick, that makes low notes. When you stretch and lengthen your vocal folds, that produces higher pitches. On to now, the causes of nodules. Well, when the vocal cords collide violently, what happens is swelling develops around the site or the place where the two vocal cords collide. One episode, if you like, of vocal trauma normally recovers after several days of vocal rest. But if you're regularly using your voice to speak or perform at gigs, and you notice that your voice becomes cloudy or maybe husky, or you notice your voice is less responsive over a certain pitch range and has lost clarity and brightness, then pay attention. Speech therapists have told us that voice abuse can result from speaking consistently at the wrong pitch or for a long duration and using too loud a voice. Vocal cord nodules are seen most commonly in teachers, singers, clergymen, sports fans, energetic children between the ages of 8 to 12 who continually shout while playing, lawyers and actors. All these people can be at risk of developing nodules. So what happens when you get nodules? Well, nodules inhibit the clean closure of your vocal cords, and they produce painless hoarseness, so you won't be able to tell by having a sore throat if you have nodules. The way you can tell is that the voice may develop a breathy, husky quality. Vocal nodules are callus-like growths that usually form in pairs, one on each vocal fold. They form at the area that receives the most pressure when the vocal folds come together to vibrate. The nodules develop from damage caused by repeated pressure on the same area, much like a callus forms on an area of a person's feet irritated by tight shoes. The voice of a person who has vocal nodules usually sounds like this: a bit hoarse, a bit low-pitched and slightly breathy. That's because they can't open and close their vocal folds cleanly. So, if your voice is slow to warm up, if your voice sounds deeper, if it sounds breathy and weak, particularly over the upper pitch range, perhaps it's time to have a simple, painless vocal endoscopy. If your voice is cutting out around certain notes or giving perhaps a characteristic voice break that is obvious when the voice is used quietly, it may also be a sign that you're at risk of developing nodules. If you get this kind of sound when you want to sing a high note, then that is a sign that something needs to be looked at. The good news is there are soft nodules and hard nodules. Now, a really excellent source of information is on the British Voice Association website in the UK, and I'm going to give you the link here. The colour images show normal vocal folds producing voicing and vocal folds with nodules. You can see on this picture how the vocal nodules prevent the vocal folds from properly closing and how they could interfere with vocal fold vibration. Treatment. In most cases, vocal nodules are treated successfully. They may resolve with rest alone in their early stage, but if the trauma recurs repeatedly, then you will need treatment. Voice therapy is usually the treatment of first choice, which involves vocal exercises designed to restore efficient vocal function so that the nodules resolve. But if the nodules have become hard, or maybe if there's time constraints like gigs or touring or things like that, surgery may be the quickest and the most effective solution. There are some positive things you can do. These are humidification. The easiest way to do that is get a cup of warm to hot water and just breathe in the steam. Speech therapy, voice rest, training to reduce the intensity and the duration of voice production, and treatment of any underlying allergies. Help is at hand if you have symptoms that suggest you may have vocal nodules. The best thing to do is ask your GP for a referral to an ear, nose and throat department. A list of UK voice clinics is available to download here at this website. Whenever possible, rest your voice and avoid speaking against noise, shouting or coughing violently. As I said before, inhale steam to soothe irritated and swollen vocal folds. Keep well hydrated, as that helps too, and avoid inhaled irritants such as smoke. If you're a singer, discuss suitable warm-up exercises with your vocal coach and do try to sing high and quiet. Vocal nodules are not a crime or even necessarily the result of bad technique. They're more like an injury, much as a marathon runner might sustain during training or a race. And we know that vocal nodules remain a problem for professional singers and may cause some cancelled shows or delays in recording or training. How to avoid them? Avoid excessive talking, throat clearing, coughing, inhaling irritants, smoking, screaming, or shouting. If you eat or drink late at night or late night spicy food, this may actually cause something called acid reflux, which is acid coming up from your tummy via your esophagus and unfortunately may coat your vocal folds in the night, which is extremely irritating for your vocal cords.